A couple of my buddies are doing this little Sissy Squat challenge thing right now, and I think the Sissy Squat is a great exercise if it's built properly, and so I thought that this would be a really interesting exercise to use to dive into ideas of dosage and process. And so what I mean by that is that, like any medicine, really it's all about the amount that you take and the appropriate dosage for the person and the time. So for example, I've had 5 knee surgeries. There's no way that I could have started out with a full range Sissy Squat, nor would that have even been a good idea for my knees. But if you slowly build to a more expansive range, you actually bulletproof your joint on the way by adding just enough dosage. It's like those medieval stories of a king who would take a small amount of poison every single day so that eventually he would be immune to the efforts of anarchy from his evil subjects, such things like that. So I'm going to show you the full range Sissy Squat, and then I'll show you some ways that you can build it. And what's great about the Sissy Squat is it develops a lot of resiliency along the whole front of the leg, and it's a very compound exercise. You have both strength and flexibility in your quads. You have to use your butt. You're working hip extension, which for yoga is great for healthy back bending and all kinds of other things. So here we go. So the few basic tenets of the Sissy Squat are that you have to keep your hips in extension. In other words, don't allow your hips to break or to flex. So the first thing that I do before I do a Sissy Squat is I get my hips engaged and moving forward and pull in my belly so that it's like super strong, because really what I want to be is a straight line from my knees to my shoulders with no break in that line. And then I'll show you a rep. You reach your knees forward and keep your tailbone tucked and your butt really tight. Control the descent all the way down until your knees touch the floor. And now at this point, what's crucial is that when you come up, you don't break at your hips. So you come straight up without allowing this to happen. I'll show you what would be an incorrect rep. So some of you will find that you're able to do the negative, like you can come down like this, but then when you try to come back up, and then you stand up, no rep. So in order to make sure that you can, in life it's always good to be able to get out of what you get yourself into. So the way that I train people to build this is just to only go down to a level that they can bring themselves out of safely. And a great way to start with that would be to get 2 blocks, for example, and just set them up as a target for your knees. And then what you do is just keep the form. So the form is much more important than the depth, because as soon as you sacrifice the form to achieve what appears to be more depth, you're essentially mitigating the impact of the exercise. So you lean your knees forward, you keep your tailbone tucked, butt tight, abs in, and when your knees touch, just push yourself straight back up. If that gets easy, you can then turn the blocks onto a lower level and perform the exercise exactly the same way. If you're very tight in the quads or very weak in the front of your hips and glutes, or you have very sensitive knees, I would recommend even that you stand in front of a wall and you move your knees forward only to the point that your knees touch the wall and come up. And that way you can always keep yourself safe and you can progress in a sensible way through this exercise. So you could add this into your routine 3 times a week, 3 sets of 10, and this is also, I think, something that's really important about process and practice. Set a target that you can achieve that many times, and just trust that over time you'll improve if you continue to hit that target, and when it starts to feel easy, then you make a lower target. Things that you will definitely feel when you do this exercise: a sort of intense combination of stretching and strengthening in the front of your hips and thighs. And for those of you that practice yoga or you're interested in back bending or drop backs, this is a really powerful exercise to help understand how to execute those movements without putting all of the stress and strain in your lower back. So I hope that this little Sissy Squat tutorial was helpful. Stay safe out there, and please choose a variation that's appropriate for your level at this time. The whole thing about well, let me see if I can do it once and post it on the internet, it's like this is a recipe for disaster.